move into the formal practice. Oh, thanks, Lori. So we've been working with the parami of virya, often translated as diligence, enthusiasm, effort, energy, most often translated as energy. And as I thought about this talk, I sort of kept coming back to this question of what is energy? Like what is energy? And kept pointing me to how we are alive, our energy really being connected to our aliveness. And do I even notice that? That being alive means that my body, mind, and heart are imbued with energy that won't always be here. So there's that preciousness of it, right? It's a gift. And it's subject to change, like everything we talk about in this practice. It shifts, it changes. Sometimes our energy is really robust and strong. Sometimes it's low and depleted. And like everything else, right? It's not in our control. My life energy is in this body. I can steward it, but it's not mine. It's not me. I can't make it. Sometimes we want to, right? We want to be able to control it. And we need it, right? This parami is important. We need it for this practice. We need effort and energy to come and sit here. And so I'm thinking of this parami as an invitation, maybe, to work with our energy and steward it in a wise, mindful, skillful way. It made me think about, probably some of you know this last line of a Mary Oliver poem, "Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life?" I think this may be connected to virya, right? So that's really what I want to stay with a little bit today, is this idea of stewarding our energy, our life energy, and how that really connects to wise intention in this practice. And we want to think about, how have we been taught to relate to our energy and manage it? What patterns have you developed that may or may not be skillful? What habits? We want to utilize our life energy for mindfulness, wisdom, but how often do we disperse it when it's here? Use it for distraction. Use it to strive for perfection on the cushion or off the cushion, right? Over efforting. Do we use it for rumination, right? Getting stuck in stories, replaying stories, reviewing our actions? Do we use our energy to plan and anticipate and always be kind of one step ahead? Do you use it to criticize and blame yourself or others? To shut down, to dissociate, to block things that we don't want to feel, or to consume things that don't actually nourish us, or pursue those things? I could say yes to all of these. And we all have our patterns, our kind of habits of ways that our energy gets directed and used up. And often we're not aware that that's happening. Certainly when we're out in our lives, but even on the cushion, right? We kind of wake up to that. Oh my goodness, all my energy is going toward this. And so we want to notice that and bring it back to, how do we really want to steward and direct this? What's my intention? And as we kind of shift from our habitual patterns, as we notice them and then have a more wise intention, we also want to see how are we kind of holding and stewarding that intention itself, the expectation around that. Is that wise? Bill talked about the warrior heart that we need for this practice, right? That courage, that courageous energy to keep showing up, to step into how things actually are, to connect with that, to look at ourselves, to look at our minds. We need that. We need diligence and enthusiasm and effort for that. And we want to be careful about setting realistic expectations with that. I think that's part of intention with energy, right? We can get really excited about our practice, or we might leave a retreat and kind of be like, that's it. I'm gonna sit every day, 3 hours, or this sit, I'm gonna be calm. I'm gonna be equanimous this whole time. It's beautiful in some way, but often we kind of flame out. And I'm guessing you all have experienced this. It's like a match gets lit and it goes, and then it's out. And that kind of intention, using our energy with that kind of expectation, isn't sustainable, and sometimes isn't even attainable. And so we will naturally kind of stumble, get sleepy, the energy will shift. And we want to be aware of how we're stewarding our intention with that, because we don't want to get discouraged. We don't want to get defeated when things flame out or the energy drops. We want to maintain and sustain our effort and diligence and enthusiasm for this practice. And I was thinking about how certainly this is true on the cushion and off the cushion too, right? I mean, thinking about times that maybe we have said, I'm going to go to this meeting. I'm feeling really good. I feel so confident. I can go to that family reunion. I can go to that barbecue. I can be in that meeting and nothing's going to get to me. I'm just going to stay so grounded and so present the whole time. And like 2.5 minutes in, we're like, oh my God, I'm so annoyed by this, or I feel so insecure, right? So again, it's like, how do we keep it really here and now, really attainable, so that we don't get defeated, we don't turn away, and we stay hopeful and energized in our intention. And so I was thinking about, first how maybe one of the first steps, and we do this every day with our holding environment, right? We want to listen in. Do we even check to see what the energy is here? And to see as we receive that, like, what are we up for? And we don't also want to identify with what we notice. That can happen a lot, right? Remembering that often a lot of this is just physics. Sometimes the energy just is low. And if we start identifying with that, and I shouldn't be sleepy, and I noticing those shoulds, then our energy is bound up in that, right? And so what's here? What's needed? If the energy is kind of low or even restless, do we need a little more stabilizing rest, nourishment? Maybe more of a focus on the anchor as a way to soothe and calm and build a little energy. Maybe phrases, really bringing in the heart. And then kind of when the energy is really humming, and there can be a lot of courage there, maybe that's a time to open up the field a little bit, allow ourselves to be with a bit more, or maybe even turn toward things that are tough to be with, pain in the body, pain in the heart, difficult emotions. And doing that again with a gentleness, not expecting or demanding that that's going to continue, because we know it's going to shift. And so thinking about, doing this in a sit and doing this also, this is big picture in our practice. Virya is going to come, it's going to go. And we want to sustain that throughout a lifetime of practice so that we keep showing up. And I wanted to give just two brief examples of how I've been working with this, both noticing my habitual patterns of where my energy goes and how it sort of just does not get utilized wisely. And then kind of small steps, small little intentions, we call them expectations, but little ways that I'm kind of trying to play with that. One is that I've noticed that my body, when I'm on the cushion, is constantly leaning forward, right? Even now, I can feel it. It's constantly tightening and leaning forward. And I know this is in a lot of ways about leaning into the next moment, efforting, trying a lot. My mind does this as well. But I really come out of my seat. My pelvis is almost off the cushion, right? And it's like, I just notice this again and again. It creates an incredible amount of tension. It absolutely exhausts me. And it's a way that my energy is being utilized and stewarded that absolutely doesn't lead to wisdom. It's not rooted in wisdom, and it doesn't lead to wisdom. It leads to depletion. And so just like, I really encourage myself to check in constantly. And when I notice that, it's just like a gentle, like, oh, settle back, soften, rebalance a little bit. And I notice every time I do that, the energy is freed up a little more. Like there's energy then for the practice to direct to being present. And one other example is the hindrance of doubt. The hindrance of doubt. A lot of my energy on and off the cushion gets really bound up in that, in decisions, whether that's the practice. Should I have focused awareness, open awareness, focus on the breath, I think some folks can relate, right? And and off the cushion, right? A decision. Should I do this? Should I do this now? How should it? It's like, and you wind up not even moving into anything, right? It's just all the energy gets used up and wasted in that kind of doubt bind. And so when I notice that, little way that I'm encouraging myself is just invite with gentleness, invite myself, just choose one, just choose something and and just commit, right? This is virya, energy, diligence, effort, right? Like I'm just going to let my energy flow here and then I'll see what happens, right? But I'm not going to keep it bound up because then I'm not going to have any. So that's one thing that I do, kind of allow myself to commit and just let it flow. So just to kind of summarize, right, this idea of life energy, being willing to check and see, like, what is energy? What does it mean to be alive and have it? Are we remembering the preciousness of that? Are we noticing the ways that we don't even realize we're using it up and coming back to what is a wise way to steward this energy we have, and being careful with our expectations, gentle with our expectations so that we can sustain that effort for a lifetime. Again, that quote by Mary Oliver, tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life. Mm. Thanks so much. Thanks for your attention. And let's just shift to practice together. So, this feels so in line with the holding environment, right? We kind of check in with the body and open up, connect to the energy a little bit. However, that feels right for you today. Maybe some gentle stretching or movements. Maybe a couple deeper than usual breaths. In breath, really inviting some energy. And the out breath, releasing excess energy and helping to balance and stabilize the body. Maybe swaying a little bit on your base with letting the abdomen sway so that you can find a stable center. Body, be aware of the whole body sitting three-dimensional, breath moving in and out. Hands resting, maybe on the legs or the lap. Shoulders can soften. If it's comfortable, eyes can close and rest. And take some time, give yourself some time just to notice and receive what your energy is like in this moment, where and how you feel it. Maybe a warmth, vibration, tingling, a hum. Maybe you really connect to it through the breath. Or at your center, or your heart. And whatever you notice, however that energy is, seeing what might be wise given that, what might be a wise intention, a way to kindly steward what's here. Maybe allowing some stabilizing with the anchor of breath or sounds. And see if it's possible to really keep the intention and the effort really here and now, like just this much can I be here. Notice maybe when we start to demand more and how that feels. Check back in, notice how the energy is now. How has it shifted? Are you still aware that it's here? And what was it being directed toward, used for? Noticing that without judgment, but if there was a leaning in, an efforting, checking out, planning, striving, replaying, just as you notice, just see if that feels like it serves you. If there's a way to really gently steward this energy. To being with, abiding, connecting, receiving, allowing, observing, with kindness, patience, care.